So, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, how do I see this fight? For one, I could see John Jones really giving Stipe Miocic some problems on wrestling. Why is that? Well, because let's face it, Francis Ngannou, who's not a lifelong wrestler, was able to give Stipe Miocic some problems in wrestling. And of course, in the first fight, obviously, Francis Ngannou got out-wrestled and schooled by Stipe. But in the second fight, Francis did exactly what Francis does when he improves, and that is better his wrestling, take Stipe Miocic down, stuff his takedowns, but then on top of that, he was able to beat him and knock him out and does exactly what he does and just improving his game overall, having the wrestling and then having the knockout power. Now, does John Jones have the knockout power that Francis has? No, but he has the wrestling that can take you down and just totally demoralize you from the beginning of the bell. So, how do I see this? Look, this is a clear finish for John Jones. No doubt about it. John Jones is going to finish Stipe Miocic, and I don't see this going either way. Now, obviously, this fight is going to be held somewhere in November, which is going to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the UFC, which was started in November of 1993, and now they're going to have this fight during that time frame. So I think it's a great way to solidify John Jones's legacy. In terms of what exactly? Well, in terms of the fact that he can't fight Francis, so the UFC has to do something about that, right? Because now you're going to have an invalid champion in the eyes of the people if you don't promote John Jones, if you don't give him the right matchup. This is the right matchup. Giving him Cyril Gane from the beginning was the right matchup. Giving him Stipe Miocic right now was the right thing to do because Stipe was the last guy to have lost his title to none other than Francis Ngannou. So now the UFC's hope is that Francis Ngannou somehow gets knocked out in the other leagues that he's going to compete in, which is none other than the PFL, or possibly get in the boxing ring with Tyson Fury for Tyson Fury to work him and make him look really bad in the eyes of the casuals. That's what the UFC is hoping to get out of this. However, they also need to promote John Jones and keep him fighting continuously for them to say that they have the best heavyweight in the world. Now, John has already proven what he needed to prove to be the best in the world in terms of, there goes that ghetto chopper right there, nothing but Southern California stuff right here, right? But nonetheless, you got to understand, if he doesn't beat Stipe, what does that say about the UFC's heavyweight division? Nothing really. At the same time, I kind of like it like that because I don't like the fact that there's one company that can say they have the best of everything, right? It's kind of good to have a little bit of a spread out, right? Like, for example, take Patrice Pitbull in Bellator. Now, this guy is one of the top 145ers and 155ers, and then he went down to 135 to try to fight Sergio Pettis to be a three-weight champion and failed. But suppose if he didn't, the Bellator has a lot of leeway into saying that they have the best 135er, 145er, and 155er in the world because nobody in the UFC has triple belts like that. Nonetheless, I think that John Jones has really proven over time that he is the best in the world at what he does. He is the best heavyweight that there ever will be if he beats Stipe Miocic, but only if he can beat him. I will say that as time goes on, I'm going to make more predictions on this fight and whatever card they fill out into this whole situation. But for now, I will say that I just don't see John Jones losing this fight in any way. Now, that's half of the battle, because the other battle is now the UFC having to prove to the world why they have the best heavyweights without Francis Ngannou having to fight the current heavyweight champion that they have. And by the way, how about that little PFL face-off they had going on? What do you guys think of that, right? I think that's really fascinating because it's like a teaser that you can't really do anything with that. So what are you going to do? Well, this is what you're going to do. You're going to have John Jones fight gone, which he did, and he finished him in the first round, but Francis struggled all 5 rounds, but one can argue that Francis had a broken leg or broken knees or some sort of injury going into that fight, and 2, he now has to beat Stipe Miocic. If not, then people are going to continuously debate who the best heavyweight in the world is.